Fellow Southern Cameroonians and Bazonians, I bring you revolutionary greetings this Sunday, the 27th day of May, in the year of our Lord 2018. I know that the events of the past few days on Ground Zero have been so terrifying. The tales have been so horrifying. The killings, mass killings in Menka, Pinging, in Mezam County in the northern zone are one of those instances in this revolution that will prick the consciences of all and sundry. I know that to a good lot of us, life has virtually come to a standstill. While we're in this kind of very disturbing, very troubling, and very, let me say, embarrassing moment, it is important for us to do a kind of looking back. Let's look back into ourselves. Let us ask ourselves some very pertinent and important questions. The questions we should all ask ourselves should revolve around our participation in the struggle, should revolve around our own very existence. Have we realized that this struggle demonstrates to us very clearly that we have at no point ever been considered human beings, brothers and sisters by those in La République du Cameroon, which we have, let me say erroneously, for decades called brothers and sisters? Have we realized that the system in Yaoundé, under which we voluntarily put ourselves in 1961, is a regime manned and run by the devil in person? That a system which does not care, which doesn't value human life, can ever be expected to deliver the kind of development we want, to deliver the kind of future we want for our children, is simply expecting that you can tap palm wine from tar. My dear brothers and sisters, I know that at this point in time, there are a lot of people who are asking themselves the question, how did we get here? There is total desolation in the land. There are tears everywhere. There is confusion, frustration, hopelessness. Oh yes, the people do not know where to go, who to turn to. We are today like a people abandoned to themselves. But all the same, I bring a message of hope. I bring a message of strength. I say a message of hope because we will have to realize that there comes a moment in the struggles of man for survival when you really have to ask yourself the pertinent questions. Ask yourself whether you are prepared to face what is coming before you. Right now, as a people, we are faced by annihilation. Anyone who is still standing on the fence today, anyone who is still saying today that no, they will continue to support the bloodthirsty regime in Yaoundé, should be asking themselves whether even they will be spared when the time comes. Because we are dealing with a system that knows no limits when it comes to devouring people. A system that knows no limits when it comes to achieving its goals, be them evil goals. Let me borrow from Bo Morward, who says the best day of your life is the one on which you decide your life is your own. No apologies, no excuses, no one to lean on, no one to rely on or to blame. The gift is yours. It is an amazing journey, and you alone are responsible for the quality of it. This is the day your life really begins. As Southern Cameroonians and Bazonians, I want us to mark this day to become that day when we realize that we have no one to lean on, that we have no one to blame, that our lives are our own, and the quality of this life will depend on what we want to give to it. If you have not started participating in this struggle, arise, because a lot of those who are going to live their lives in this struggle will be those who are standing on the fence. My dear brothers and sisters, after what has happened in Menka, I'd like to ask this question. Where is Simon Achidi Achu? The former Prime Minister, former Member of Parliament, former Minister, former Senator. It is in his backyard. Where was he when this happened? I want to ask this question. Where is Fonangwafo? Because we're here in Mezam County, the first National Vice President of the CPDM. Where is Mama Regina Mundi? Mama Regina Mundi is one of the highest ranking persons too in the CPDM party in the Northwest. She's even a senator. Mama Regina Mundi, do you have children? Did you go through the pains of childbirth? Where are all the women who are in government today, who are in high places in Yaoundé? Do they see these children, the future of Southern Cameroon, Sambazonia, falling and dying on a daily basis? Where have you kept your consciences? I expected you all by now to be on the streets, wailing and shouting at the top of your voices and asking that this should stop, that never and never again. What is the crime of these young people? Simply because they're asking for better living conditions? Simply because they're asking for freedom, which is a human and inalienable right? Oh, where are the so-called ministers? Yes, the news came in from Bello subdivision, or let me call it Bello County, where the home of Mrs. Young Philemon's sister was also burnt. Where is Young Philemon, the Prime Minister? Your sister-in-law's house was burnt. I wonder if you didn't even wish that she too should have been burnt along alive in that house. How long will you wait? Will you wait until you yourself get roasted in your houses before you know that it's time for you to define where you stand? That it's time for you to determine whether you are a Southern Cameroonian or you have taken nationality with La République du Cameroon, that you don't care whatever happens to the people of Southern Cameroons, and that all you bother about is power, is bloody power, mirage of power, power which you don't even have, which you can't exercise? For how long will you wait? For how long will you pretend that you can't see the wailings? For how long will you pretend that your people are not crashing and dying by the day? This is a time more than ever before for those who have not been part of this revolution to all understand that we are all in this together, that we will all die one by one if we don't come together to build a stronger force to overcome this evil system that has no other intention but to decimate us. I remember sometime someone even referred to Mr. Paul Biya as an apostle. I don't want to repeat the word they use, that Prince of Peace. My lips can't manage to call that because I know that can't be attributed to him. Where is the love that we expected from the people east of the Mungo? That young people are being killed in huge numbers and people stay silent as if nothing has happened. Where is the love? And now let me address myself to all of us who are actively reading, writing, and commenting about this revolution, and sometimes pretending to be assisting or to be taking part, when in fact we are just waiting for the moment of victory to join in a chorus. Oh yes, because they say there is no discrimination in the feast of the harvest. Let me draw our attention to this. If your family member has not yet been touched, any Southern Cameroonian and Bazonian that has been touched is part of your family. Because what I learned from this wonderful songwriter is that love wasn't put in your heart to stay there. Love isn't love until you give it away. Let us show this love to our brothers and sisters on ground zero who are crumbling daily by making sure we contribute in whatever way, we participate in whatever way we can to force the world to finally open its eyes, to finally rise up to the occasion and to stop this carnage, to stop this nonsense that is taking place. That is why Mother Teresa says the hunger for love is much more difficult to remove than the hunger for bread. Where is the love in us? You are sitting in the diaspora. You are enjoying yourself with your family. You are doing things left and right. You don't care because you are not on ground zero where the heat is being turned on our people on a daily basis. You are in short supply of love. You have refused. You can't participate in this whole thing because it is them who are involved. You are in short supply of love. And let me say this and put this such that all of us make no mistake about it tomorrow. Those of you who call yourselves elite, who call yourselves politicians in Yaoundé, who call yourselves civil servants protecting sinecure jobs in Yaoundé and watching silently as your people are being decimated, take note that your silence is being recorded. Take note that we even consider that the blood of these departed young people will always be on your hands. Those of you who by day and by night continue to assist the occupier to conceive evil plans against your own people so that in return you can be given stupid gratifications, stupid earthly gratifications, stupid empty positions where you will have assistants that will be more stronger than you, who will rip your life apart simply because you want to have access to illicit money. The blood of these young people is on your hands. Those of you who are involved in this struggle just because you want to take advantage of the fact that there is something like a struggle to collect money meant for people who are suffering in refugee camps left and right and use it for your own purpose, the blood of these people dying is also in your hands. Those of you who have gotten into this struggle just because you want to be in a position to betray A, betray B, and make dirty blood money, also know that the blood of those who are dying is on your hands. Let us realize that refusal to act when you find people being destroyed on a daily basis makes you a silent accomplice to the carnage that is taking place in southern Cameroon. I am calling on all of us to keep the faith, to remain strong. Let Mr. Paul Biya display all sorts of weapons, even like the ones they brought from Nigeria just the other day, passed with them through Bamenda, to intimidate people to feel that if you continue to protest, if you continue to ask for your rights, if you continue to seek your independence that has been stolen from you, we will destroy you. Let Mr. Paul Biya know that while the Philistines with their champion Goliath lorded it over the children of Israel for 40 good days, and they terrorized the people for all these days to the point where some of the Israelites asked God, where are you? Are you still there and alive? God was preparing David with a simple common sling in the forest. And when David showed up, just a simple common sling put Goliath and everything the Philistine boasted of down to zero. My dear brothers and sisters, at this juncture, we are also beginning to ask in southern Cameroons, God, where are you? Is God truly alive? Let me remind us, or let us remind ourselves, that our God is a God that is never late. That our God is a God of justice. That our God is a God that promises and fulfills his promises. And that the time is nigh. Let us prepare. Because there is nothing as horrible as opportunity meeting a situation of lack of preparation. Let us prepare. Let us continue to rise by the day and be ready to grab the opportunity that God would meet us. Because when that opportunity would meet preparations, this story will be told in different words. This story will be told by different people, and this story will be received differently. My dear brothers and sisters, you are not worth anything to the people who look up to you if you refuse to rise up and vouch for them at the time they need you most. Let me borrow from Benjamin Franklin, who says, your net worth to the world is usually determined by what remains after your bad habits are subtracted from your good ones. let us turn a blind eye to our insufficiencies and pay attention to our strengths, and let this strength help us. Let this strength lead us to helping our people on ground zero to come out from the carnage. Let this strength help us. Let this strength contribute in making us graduate from this seeming difficulty into a much better society. This 28th day of May, we will be joining the people of the United States of America to celebrate Memorial Day. This Memorial Day is because there are many, many people who died, who gave their lives for the United States of America to be the country it is today, that we are all enjoying. Our brothers and sisters who are giving their lives on ground zero in southern Cameroons will be remembered in this same fashion, because they are offering their lives for a noble cause. They will be remembered in this same fashion, because they are offering their lives that we may have a better society, that our children and our children's children will not live in the kind of slavery that we have lived. They will be honored. Take note, the decision you make at this point in time concerning this struggle will be very important in determining to what extent we take it. That is why Roger Crawford says we are a product of the choices we make, not the circumstances that we face. I want to take this opportunity to send this sound appeal to those boys and girls on ground zero who have decided not to die, who have decided to defend themselves and defend the most vulnerable people in our society. While I doff my hat to you, I must, in the strongest term, condemn those who have infiltrated the ranks of those who are now commonly called the Amber Boys and Girls, and who are using the opportunity of this struggle to be extorting from the same people that you stand out to defend. Should be picked out. They should be singled out and treated exactly like we treat an enemy. Because there are a lot of you out there now who have decided not to let the poor people who have not done businesses for 2 years plus to have sleep. Calling, leaving threatening messages, asking for money. If you don't cover 5 million before this day, we will teach you a lesson, we will kill you, we will roast you. Committing hideous crimes, stealing, raping and all whatnot in the name of Amber Boys and Girls. No, those are not the Amber Boys and Girls that I know. So I am sending this sound message that those of you carrying out those acts, take note that you are being identified in all the counties. In Mezam County, you are being identified. In Boyo, in Boya County, everywhere in Fako County. In Fako County, you are being identified. And you will be picked out. The image of the Amber Boys and Amber Girls that I know is that which is brought out triumphantly by this journalist, Franklin Sonnebayen, who took time off and observed their mode of operations. These are people who protect the vulnerable and most affected caste of our society. These are people who protect our grandmothers and grandfathers and even the handicapped from being burnt alive in their houses. These are people who don't extort money from anybody. These are people who have rules and regulations governing their operations. I know that Yaoundé has decided to infiltrate our ranks. I know that there are also armed robbers who have decided to want to take opportunity of this struggle. Take note that you are being identified. Right now as I'm talking, there is a hotline that is being sent out there. Every country will have such a hotline. Once you receive a call from anyone claiming to be Amber Boys and asking for money from you or asking for ransoms, call those numbers. We don't need the soldiers from La République du Cameroon to do that for us. We don't need the police from La République du Cameroon to do that for us. We have people on the ground who will take care of such situations. The southern Cameroons we seek to build is a pure country. Those kind of acts are not Anglo-Saxon in nature. And I denounce them. And I know that every other person is denouncing them in the strongest terms possible. Let this end. I mean, let this end. And let it end as fast as possible. I take this opportunity also to call on our brothers and sisters who are based in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. You should support the Southern Cameroon's Ground Zero Relief Initiative. This is an initiative of the UK country leadership, which seeks to put together money and all other forms of assistance that will help our people who are internally displaced, not only those who are already in foreign countries as refugees, who are hiding, who are moving from village to village like nomads looking for safe haven. Some of them are suffering from multifarious kind of illnesses. A lot of them don't even have access to food and everything. So those of you in the United Kingdom, join the UK country leadership and contribute to us to get our people on Ground Zero enjoy some relief. And I'll end this message by urging all those who are based in the DMV area in the United States of America to take part in this demonstration that is built for Capitol Hill on the 30th of May 2018. That is a never again demonstration. That demonstration is meant to send a message across the world that we are tired, that we say enough is enough. I don't know who is even organizing that demonstration. I don't care to know. So you too should not care to know. All you should know is that you have to take part in that demonstration. Those of you who are even in New York or in other neighboring states, take the pains, travel to Washington. You are not on Ground Zero offering your blood. You are not anywhere near to where the tension and everything is taking place. If this is the only thing you must do to show solidarity, to show that you care for those who are being decimated on Ground Zero, do it. Let us be at the Capitol Hill in very huge numbers so that the US lawmakers will see that all Southern Cameroonians based in the DMV area and vicinities are frustrated, are angry, and are tired of what is happening on Ground Zero. Things should never ever and shall never ever be the same again. To God be the glory.